We're told to work hard, stay focused, get good grades, follow a logical path. And while that's all okay, following just a logical path puts dreaming and creativity on the sidelines. Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. All right, so who's already forgotten about the resolutions? Raise your hand. You know, I used to make resolutions every year, but they never stuck. And about 10 years ago, when I began my personal growth journey, I learned about visualization, which is basically fancy talk for dreaming. I'm about to make a really bold statement here, so I hope you're listening. Resolutions don't work. And here's why. Number one, they feel more like a should-do list rather than a I get to do list or I want to do list. And who wants to work on a should-do list? Nobody that I know of. And the second reason their resolutions don't work is they have an expectation that you're supposed to go from 0 to 100 at the stroke of midnight. I mean, it's not realistic to think that if you don't exercise, that all of a sudden on January 1st, you're going to start exercising 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. So instead of resolutions this year, and even before you get into setting your goals, let's talk about how achieving the things you really want begins with dreaming again. Remember daydreaming? Gosh, we could daydream all day long as kids. Were you the one who used to dream about being a teacher, a firefighter, an astronaut, or maybe even a mom? And then you know what happens? Life happens. We get really serious. We're told to work hard, stay focused, get good grades, follow a logical path. And while that's all okay, following just a logical path puts dreaming and creativity on the sidelines. I want to share a story here. In 1992, my husband Sam and I, we took the biggest step after getting married. We purchased our very first home. We bought a townhouse right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the suburbs outside of Philly. And we started a new chapter. And now came the fun part, decorating a new house. Well, I had never owned my own house. Lucky for me, though, right down the street, literally a half a mile away from a brand new house, was a brand new single home development. And there were still 2 of the sample homes up for viewing. Among them was one called the Waterford. It was a spectacular house. And I'm not just talking about the decor, the way they had it decorated. I'm talking about the physical structure of the house, the size of it, the layout. Deep down inside, I knew that day walking through that sample home that one day that was going to be our single family home and in that exact neighborhood. And despite my excitement for our current home, the allure and the picture of the Waterford just was ingrained in my mind that for the next 3 years, each drive to the market or to work involved cutting through that single home neighborhood, looking for which ones were the Waterford. So fast forward 3 years from that, our family had grown. We have our beautiful daughter, Ellie. I'm pregnant with our second child. And Sam comes home one day from work with an announcement. He says, really exciting news. You know, his client, Gary and Anita, are selling their business. They're selling their home and they're retiring and moving to Hilton Head. And although I was a little bit unclear as to what the meaning was for us about this news, It all of a sudden, it became clear Sam was sharing the news with me because Gary and Anita lived in a single home in Dublin Lee, that exact development that I had been driving through and imagining us living in for 3 years. And guess what? They lived in the model of Waterford. Now, it was exciting and sad at the same time because we were not financially prepared for such a significant investment, but we decided to look at the house anyway. So Gary and Anita met us as we walked down the street, walked up to their front door, opened the front door, and they took us on a tour of this beautiful home. And it was on the most perfect street in this neighborhood. I fell in love, and so did Sam. Now is a big, big challenge. How are we ever going to afford this house, which was clearly 2 to 3 years in the future for us? We went home, we talked about it. We decided Sam was going to call Gary. So he called Gary. He said, "We really want your house, but we have no idea how to make this happen financially." And Gary said, "Sam, just come over and let's talk." So Sam went over to Gary and Anita's. I stayed home with the kids. And here's a story that Sam would soon relate to me over the phone from Gary and Anita's house. He arrives at Gary and Anita's, and they sit down at the kitchen table, and in front of them, Gary has a piece of paper and a pen, and in front of Sam is a piece of paper and pen. And Gary says, "What we're going to do is we're going to write down a number that we both feel is fair for this house. We're going to turn the papers over, and we're going to sit at this kitchen table, and we're going to work this out. We are going to negotiate until we can figure out how we can sell our home to you." So they sat there and they wrote down their numbers. And when they turned over the papers, remarkably, they had written the exact same number down. And that is how Sam and I ended up in our dream home, in our dream neighborhood, on the dream street in that neighborhood 25 years ago. So my friends, resolutions don't work. Resolutions didn't get me there. Dreaming and visualizing, and yes, taking some action got me there. So are you ready to set realistic, achievable goals that light you up and drive you to take inspired action? Well, I'm ready to support you in doing that. So if you want some support in creating amazing, impactful, meaning goals and opening up your mind to dreams and what's possible for 2024 and beyond, I want to invite you to join me for a free goal setting workshop, because I know that if you understand how to harness the power of visualization and what to do with it after you start dreaming, that you too can manifest your dream home, a car, a new job, whatever it is for you. So join me for the free goal setting workshop, where you will learn to use visualization as a powerful manifestation tool to create the life you had always dreamt of and the life you deserve. The virtual workshop is one day only, and it will be on January 24th. And everyone who registers and or attends will receive the recording of the event. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. And of course, here's your dare. Your dare is 2 parts. Your dare number 1 is to click the link in the show notes below and register for this one-day workshop. Your double dare is to set aside, between now and the time of the workshop, set aside intentional time to daydream. Have you been wanting to be a public speaker? See yourself on stage doing it. Have you wanted to host your own podcast? Close your eyes and see yourself sitting behind the microphone with the video on, interviewing your guests. Do you want to go back to school? Visualize yourself clicking and registering for the class, purchasing the books, and walking into the classroom. Do you want to learn how to cook? Then yes, close your eyes and see yourself in that amazing chef's hat and apron in your state-of-the-art kitchen, putting together culinary designs of a delicious food for your friends and family to taste. It is never too late to start dreaming again. So before you leave, dare to click the link, grab yourself a seat for the workshop, and then set aside some intentional time every day leading up to the workshop to start dreaming again. I cannot wait to link arms with you and dream and dare into 2024 together. Dare on, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Empty Nest. Head over to jodysilverman.com for our full show notes, more information, and additional resources to support you through empty nest and midlife. I'll see you next Thursday. Dare on.